So book lighting seems to be one of Hollywood's favorite key lighting techniques. And while it does produce really soft light that's pleasing on your subject, it's incredibly inefficient and it's not achievable for the everyday one-man band filmmaker. So in this video, we're gonna talk about how I book light on all my shoots and make it achievable for anyone, whether you're a Hollywood DP or a one-man band filmmaker. So let's get into it. This is going to be the control image with which all the other images will be measured by. So this image represents just a straight bounce lighting. There's no booking yet. Moving on. But now that we're looking at a full book lighting setup, I think it's important to note that this took a ton of time, and this is just not something that's very sustainable for your typical one-man band filmmaker, as I've clearly already mentioned. But I think I'm gonna change the shot up because it just seems pretty lame. Hang on. Well, my apologies, because this should have been the shot from the beginning, but I do think it's important to know that this took me a good 30 minutes to set up by myself, and it would have taken even longer if I was loading gear into a particular location. So let's look at a slightly more efficient setup, which isn't the best setup, I think, but it could get you out of a jam if you find yourself in this situation. I do think this looks good though, and this angle looks much better. So I just looked at the recording time of that last clip, and it was about 3 minutes, which is probably close to the time it would actually take you to do this setup. Now, the setup has some benefits, but also some real limitations. Technically, it is a book lighting setup because you are bouncing the light off of a white wall and then through a shower curtain, as you can see here. However, as you can tell, because I had to change the angle around and move the lighting to a less than ideal place, it's not the best technique because you actually have to have a wall nearby your subject. So everything has to kind of line up perfectly, and it's just not the best scenario for lighting. It's just pretty limiting. And on top of that, it still does take a big shower curtain, 2 stands, and it's very limited in your location. But there is a better way, and now we're gonna get to it. But first, I'm kidding, that would be hilarious. I have 2,500 subs. No one is sponsoring me right now. So this is the setup. This is a one stand book lighting setup. This is a one stand book lighting setup, the most efficient book lighting setup that I've personally ever used. And it's why it's my main key lighting source for 90% of the shoots that I'm doing. Especially if, I don't actually know. It's just 100%. It's the way. Okay, let me show you how it works. So we have the base of the setup, which is a rolling combo stand. You could get any different number of these, but I've chosen this one. Obviously it needs a sandbag, but this is for instructional purposes only. Then we're using an Amaran 300C, but all of the Amaran lights have this piece right here, which is obviously a very nice and very clean umbrella holder. Around on the back here, we have a very large umbrella. Some would call it a parabolic umbrella. Others would say that that's incorrect. I personally don't care what you call it. It's a large umbrella that inside contains an ultra bounce material. So when you put the diffusion on the outside, you double diffuse your light, which is pretty handy if you ask me. And it creates a book lighting setup that all fits on one stand, which is like kind of insane. It's ridiculous actually. But the thing that I think is most beneficial about this setup is that For very little money, you can actually get incredible book lighting setup, and you can use it with any number of lights. Obviously, it's easier to use if your light has an umbrella holder, but if it doesn't, you just need one of these, which is just a standard grip head that's going to come with most of your C-stands, and it actually has a small hole that I believe will fit the umbrella. So you can rig that up with a super clamp and you'll be able to run this umbrella on any sort of light that you could possibly be using. Now, I didn't come up with this lighting setup, but I just had to share it with you because as a one-man band filmmaker for a lot of the shoots that I'm doing, I just find that it's absolutely necessary to have these little hacks that help you get the most out of your gear and produce the highest quality image as quickly as possible. And that's why I love this setup. You're literally getting Hollywood's book lighting concept on one light stand, and you can get the whole umbrella thing for less than $100. So then all you need is a rolling light stand, or I mean, you don't even need the rolling light stand, but that's kind of important. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you, and actually I'm gonna end it right there. I think that'd be where I end it. This has probably been the messiest video that I've filmed as far as like gear and just throwing cameras around. I mean, I was rocking around with this thing in my mouth most of the time, just like